When I first saw Bombay, I was a little disappointed. Well, Bombay has its own charm. I won't say Bombay is not good, but it's overcrowded. It's overcrowded, and you feel as if these tall buildings are falling on you. And it naturally cannot be as clean as Karachi was because it's overpopulated.
सेक्टर 5 कुठे आले सेक्टर 5 उल्हासनगर सेक्टर 5 सेक्टर 5 क्लास नंबर सरळ जा पुढे चौकी लेफ्ट मारा चौकी मिले तर लेफ्ट हाँ चौक मिलेगा चौक चौक से लेफ्ट वापस आगे के राइट
हम जब भी पाकिस्तान से आए ना तो बहुत लफड़ा था पाकिस्तान में। हमको गाड़ी मिला तो एक डब्बा हमने ख़रीद किया इसका पुलिस का, 2 पुलिस वाले साथ में लिया हमने। 2 दरवाज़ा होता है ना उतरने का, कभी प्लेटफार्म इधर आता है कभी उधर आता है, तो 2 दरवाजे में 2 पुलिस वाले खड़े थे। जब भी स्टेशन आती थी जब भी पुलिस वाले अंदर होके दरवाजे बंद करते, फिर दरवाजे बहुत खटखटाते, भाई खोलो, पुलिस का डब्बा क्यों लिया है तुमने। बहुत तकलीफ़ दिया हमको, बहुत तकलीफ़ दिया। जो हमारे जेंट्स थे उसको हम चुन्नी पहना के बिठाया डब्बे में।
First, we went to Bangalore because an uncle of mine was there and it was easy to get a house there. So we stayed there for some time, and again my parents went back because there was hope that we might all go back. Finally, most of them went, and I and my sister were to leave, and my father sent a telegram, "Don't come, stay away." So I never went to Karachi again. When I was leaving, I had it in my mind, maybe I'm seeing the last of Karachi.
Sindh did not get partition, and yet it was very strongly impacted by the partition of India because it went in its entirety to Pakistan. On 17th of December 47, there were riots in Hyderabad, Sindh. This was followed about 2 or 3 weeks later by much larger premeditated riots in Karachi on the 6th of January in 1948. And these Karachi riots, they struck terror in the hearts of Hindus living all over Sindh. And that triggered a huge wave of migration.
पंजाबी लोग भागे, सिंधी तो बाद में आए ना। मुसलमान और पंजाबी का झगड़ा था, सिंधी का नहीं, मुसलमान का। मुसलमान को इधर निकालते थे ना, तुम पाकिस्तान में जाओ, सिंधी को उधर निकालते तुम हिंदुस्तान में जाओ। तो मुसलमान तो जबरे, पंजाबी भी कम नहीं है झगड़े करने में, बहुत होशियार है। फिर उन दोनों की लड़ाई में ऐसा हो गया बेचारे का नुकसान, गहना भी छोड़ दिया, तो बच्चा छोड़ दिया तो गहना तो फिर भी बनेगा, बच्चा भी पलने में छोड़ दिया। जो उधर लोग गए ना तो हमको बताते थे, भाई हम गए ना तो बच्चा सूख गया था पलने में, रोके रोके बेचारे।
And when they all came here, they just managed to stay in the camps the government gave for the Kalyan camps, which were just big, huge halls. Further, it used to be Italian prisoners were kept there at one stage.
See, Ulhasnagar, or Kalyan camp as it was known then, was one of the largest refugee camps in that time, and It was in a terrible shape because it was basically a military camp used by the British in the World War II.
फिर हम गोंडा कैंप में आए। फिर उधर एक रूम मिला, एक ऐसा मटका, ऐसा जलाने का लकड़ी ऐसा। फिर 100 हज़ार लाइन में राशन लेने को जाओ, पानी भरने को जाओ, एक बाल्टी खाली मिलती थी।
1947-48, when the Sindhis were dumped there, they were in a very dilapidated condition. The walls were broken down, the roofs were leaking, there were holes, and it was subdivided by using, very makeshift curtains made of gunny sacks or saris, which meant that there were no walls, which meant there was no privacy, there was no safety, no security. There were thefts being reported in the camp, public bathrooms and toilets which are also in a very dilapidated and broken down condition, or they had to go out and use the jungles. And you must understand what a shock it was for many Sindhi women, especially those who came from small towns and who had been used to living lives in parda. To come to this stage where they were just leading very exposed lives with absolutely no privacy, it was quite a big shock for them.
चंपो को ज़रूर हुनखे लॻो जो नांगन में हथ विझंदो सो अवसी
Hinduism in Sindh has traditionally been at the confluence of three religions. One was a very unorthodox Hinduism. Unorthodox because there was no state patronage. Sindh had been under Muslim rule for 11th centuries before the British came. So as a result of various kinds of foreigners crisscrossing Sindh, Sindhi Hindus would worship Guru Nanak, they could worship Krishna, they could worship Shiva, they could worship Jhulelal, they could even worship Muslim peers.
हम सबकी पूजा करती है। ऐसा माना समझो ना, हमारा गुरु है ना, मन में उसको बिठाने का, हाथ सबको जोड़ने का, सही है ना। ये क्या बोलता है, एको अंकार। गुरु नानक बोलता है एको अंकार, एको माथा टेको। हमारा एक से शादी किया, औरत लोग एक से शादी करता है, दूसरे मर्द के पास जाएंगी तो वो बदनाम होएंगी, सही बात है ना। तो एक को ही तुम मन में रखो, बाकी हाथ सर पर जोड़ो।
We Sindhis who migrated are very confused about religion. We have not been brought up in the true Hindu culture. We don't know anything about Hindu culture. In Sindh, what it was as bad because there was overwhelming Muslim influence. There weren't very many temples to visit or speak of. We took to Guru Nanak, who had simplified everything, who tried to merge the best of Islam and Hinduism and give it a non-ritualistic culture.
There are also certain Sindhi Hindus who continue to believe in their Muslim peers who live in Pakistan. Now, their original peers may not be alive, but their successors still are there on the Gadi. And these Sindhis still believe in those peers. If they can, they make trips to Pakistan to visit the shrine there, the Dargah. And very often, the successor who is there in Pakistan also occasionally makes trips to India. For example, Rohal Fakir or Sakhi Kabul Muhammad, they still continue to make trips to India to meet their Hindu following here.
देखो, ऊपर वाला तो एक ही है, ये तो हम लोगों ने बनाया, ये मुसलमान है, सिंधी है दोनों भाई भाई। राम और रहीम दोनों भाई है। राम हमने लिया और रहीम मुसलमानों ने लिया। भगवान में तो दो नज़र होता ही नहीं ना, भगवान तो एक नज़र से सबको देखता है। तो हम तो उधर ये रोज़ा रखते ना, ये क्या छा इंडिया ईद 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 ईंदी है आती है ना, तो हम खाना पका के मुसलमान को दे के आते हैं।
Yeah, well, I'm a Hindu, and all Sindhis are. And to be frank with you, I'm not a big fan of religion per se. I mean, I just believe in one God. But since it's there, I just think the religion is like a different tunnel, a different channel towards one superpower. And so that's the only reason I'll probably go to a temple or get married in a temple. Yeah, and those are my views. I'm not a big fan of religion myself.
Jhulelal has actually been created as a Sindhi deity after partition, with the specific intention of uniting the Sindhi community. The story behind Jhulelal is that in around the 10th century AD, there was an evil king, a Muslim king called Mir Shah, who ruled Sindh, and he was really oppressing his Hindu subjects, and he wanted them all to convert to Islam. So the Hindus prayed to the river. They could hear a voice coming from the river saying, don't worry, you have nothing to fear, I will come and save you, and I will be born in the house of one Ratan. He was Jhulelal. It's also interesting to note that the Sindhi Muslims have a parallel story. There was an evil Hindu king oppressing the Muslim subjects, and those Muslims then pray to the river, and the river god comes up in the form of Khwaja Khizr, who saves the Muslim subjects from the evil Hindu king.
I'm a Hindu Sindhi. My grandparents are basically hardcore Sindhis. I mean, Hindus, yes, but hardcore Sindhis. They moved during partition, had a very bad time, as most Sindhis did. They faced a lot of difficulties because when they were in Sindh, they were a mixed community. There was no problem. Koi Muslim, koi Sikh, koi Hindu wouldn't affect anyone. But when they came here, they were sometimes faced with problems that, especially when they came new to India, they were told that आप लोग Muslims के साथ रह के आए हो and you all eat non-veg and all that, so therefore you're not welcome in our locality and in our township.
There was no conscious effort to integrate myself, but there was a conscious realization that somewhere I'm not fitting in, somewhere I'm not being accepted. That acceptance hurt very much at one stage. I don't know if I should say this or not. I was studying in Nagpur and I was very friendly with a typical Maharashtrian Brahmin girl. We were to get married. I mean, her parents came here and it was all very nice and comfortable at the parental level. That I was comfortable. But this girl's friends, Sindhi ke saath shaadi karti. Kya boltu hai? Sindhi. No, exactly. That's why she just switched off one day. And I was left aghast. I couldn't understand. And then I was told, you are a Sindhi, that's it. And that's what the problem is.
But this cannot be from...
this is vegetarian chicken.
Huh?
It's vegetarian chicken.
It's fed on vegetarian stuff.
Soya chicken. The chicken only.
Soya chicken.
So what do you think?
About you?
Yeah.
Normal Sindhi type. Have all the money but just about it inside.
About it. Savings. Yeah, what is it just about me or the whole?
I think
that's
it's
what.
only
him.
What the hell, dude? Come on.
Like if you give him $10, he'll take $11 back from you. That's how he is.
That's rubbish.
Other companies, of course, stereotype the Sindhis. They brand them as bad. They brand them as bad.
No,
I mean,
they don't.
See a snake, see a Sindhi, kill the Sindhi first and not the snake.
What? That's
That was said.
60 years ago.
Yes, it was 60 years ago.
60, not 60.
60 years ago, yes.
No, never. I think Sindhis, I think, look, I've been in one industry all my life. So I've been in the real estate industry and I've never had to face that. Because I think Sindhis are natural brokers. I think Sindhis are natural they have the gift of the gab, so to speak. They're natural salespeople. So I've never had to have any kind of discrimination on that or any kind of stereotype on that.
Only thing now I tell them, because I've forgotten, I tell them Sindhis are much smarter than you. They've killed all the snakes, so you don't have a choice. You've got to face me, you've got to accept me, or else I'm going to rule you. And that's what we are doing.
How come when Sindhis, when they came after partition, established themselves, when you say they had no money? Well, there are many stories, but I'll just give one interesting incident. There was this youngster. What he did, he bought a whole load of books and he sat on the footpath opposite a bookshop. Now, he spread his books and he was selling them at the cost at which he had bought. Now, you will say, so, what of it? What could he make out of that? Nothing. He sold all the books at the cost price. What he got was just the carton in which he brought the book, a big carton. And that he sold for 3-4 rupees, which was enough for his day.
There was a lot of hard work, a lot of enterprise, and a lot of self-confidence, that the Sindhis really put into their rehabilitation, and it's been an outstanding, a spectacular success story. Today you look at any field, like in business you have the Hinduja group, or you have Blue Star or Onida. In construction you have the Hiranandanis or the Rahejas. I mean, you have Sindhis in the film world, on TV. You have, like just in Bombay there are 3 hospitals, like the Jaslok Hospital, National Hospital, and the Inlax Hospital in Chembur. In education they've made a huge contribution, especially in this city and other cities as well. At the same time, it has come at a price.
At the cost of losing our mother tongue.
There is no future for Sindhi language here.
Who's to blame? That's what the starting point was. Who's to blame for that?
Sindhis themselves, but those who wrote, they did not want to get it translated into Devanagari.
In December 48, a very small number of Sindhis met in Bombay, and they took a unilateral decision without consulting anyone else in the community, without arriving at any consensus from within the community. They took a unilateral decision to change the script, the Sindhi script, from the Perso-Arabic script to the Devanagari script. They subscribed to the philosophy that Sindhis, having come to India after partition, should just now forget that they are Sindhi, and they should become Indians, and they should adapt completely to the local culture. The rest of the community, especially these writers as I mentioned, didn't subscribe to that view at all. They felt that they wanted to hold on to their identity. They wanted to hold on to the whole body of literature that had been written in the Perso-Arabic script up till then. They didn't want to just let go of that. They felt it would be cultural suicide.
कहानी आज 30 जनवरी है। आज सुबह को चलाया था सुनो सुनो है दुनिया वालों बापू की अमर का वो कभी गीत चलाता था और ये 30 तारीख को 6 दिन बाकी सब मैं सिंधी सुनता हूँ। सिंधी किधर जाता नहीं हूँ, मना पिक्चर पर नहीं जाता हूँ देखने को, हिंदी पिक्चर देखता हूँ, ये सब सिंधी में है।
हिंदी भाषा से इतना लगाव क्यों है? आप इतना प्रचार क्यों करते हैं सिंधी भाषा को?
गोविंद माली और भगवंती नावानी थी, भगवंती नावानी गायिका थी बहुत महान, वो गाते थे, वो गोविंद माली उसका उस्ताद था। उसने बोला तो तुम भाई अकेला है, तुम सिंधी भाषा की तहरीक में लग जाओ। तो उसके बाद 67 यानी 67 1900 उसमें सिंधी भाषा तस्लीम हुआ। हमारी ये भाषा सरकार तस्लीम किया, भाई सिंधी भाषा को सब हक मिलेगा जो उसको मिला है। उसी दिन मैंने कसम उठाया तो इसके बाद मैं सिर्फ सिंधी में बात करूँगा, सिंधी में लिखा पढ़ी करूँगा। और सिंधी, मेरी एक लाइब्रेरी का नाम नेशनल लाइब्रेरी था, वो मैंने नेशनल लाइब्रेरी नाम उतार के सिंधु लाइब्रेरी रखा और हिंदी और अंग्रेज़ी किताब निकाल दिया, सिर्फ सिंधी किताब रखा।
I don't think anybody tried to teach me the language. I think whatever I know, I can understand Sindhi fluently because my grandmom and my parents converse. So you picked up the understanding of the language. But speaking was never asked of me. Whatever I can pick up, I've picked up. Whatever little I can converse with my grandmom. But I tried to pick up the language at one point. I remember number of years ago, I was doing a transaction for Microsoft, and the landlord was a Sindhi. And I tried to speak to the landlord in Sindhi, and he turned around and told me not to speak in Sindhi because my Sindhi was terrible. And he said, if you continue speaking Sindhi, we're not going to have a transaction over here. So since that day, I've made sure I don't speak to any clients in Sindhi or any people I know.
I know how to read and write the Arabic font. Yeah, they're very similar, I know, but there are a couple of variations here there which I just, I don't know how to follow up on those variations. And also, I never really got the opportunity to actually sit and learn Sindhi. If I had the chance, I wouldn't even learn Arabic because I know I probably never use it ever in my life.
Of what use is it? How does it help us? And how does it come if we don't speak in Hindi, Sindhi, what does it matter? In what way does it harm us? They don't harm on what we had in Sindh, what we brought from Sindh, or what was our culture. They have integrated very well with all the communities, and they are learning, on the contrary, more. Had they been in Sindh, they wouldn't have learned so much.
Home is not, Pakistan or Sindh or where my grandma or my father was born. For me, home will be Breach Candy. For my daughter, home will be Kulaba. And unfortunately, that's the way life will go on.
Emotional connection, unfortunately, because I'm not born, brought up there, don't have friends there. Your connections, especially your emotional connections, happen through people there. But I don't have friends there or relations over there that I can actually bond with. So not exactly an emotional attachment. Yes, my grandparents speak very fondly about it. Unfortunately, I can't.
आप कभी वापस नहीं गए उसके बाद? नहीं, मन होता है वापस जाने का, फिर अभी क्या जाके करेंगे। अभी उधर सगे वाला हो भाई, किसके पास रहे, खाना पीना तो मांगता है ना जिधर जावे। तो उधर तो पहले तो अच्छा ही था ना उधर, अभी इधर अच्छा है। अभी जिसको छोड़ा उसको अच्छा कैसा बोलने का, अभी हमारे हाथ में ही नहीं रहा ना। जो हमारे चीज़ हाथ में है वो हमारे लिए अच्छा है, जो हाथ से गया तो हम उसको क्या करेंगे। अभी हिंदुस्तानी हो गया तो हमारे लिए हिंदुस्तानी अच्छा है।
Just to see, well, I'm not keen, but I would like to see, but I'm sure I'll be disappointed. I would like to see the place where I grew up, and the reports that I got, they said they have put up another story there, and they couldn't have spoilt it much, because what could they do? I mean, the compound was there, lawns were there, they can't build there. Then I would like to see my college and my school, just to have a look from outside. I'm sure it must be green and pink and something. They must have changed it. Well, actually I liked that place very much. The life for us was better there. For us means I'm talking of myself, my family, or perhaps that's nostalgia. clean, beautiful place, very good climate.